Consult Asia delivers cutting-edge training to empower people to achieve their maximum potential. Engaged in developing and delivering customised learning and development programs specialising in leadership, business, sales and life coaching. True to its name, Consult Asia works with partners worldwide in Asia, North America, Europe, the United Kingdom and Australia. All from diverse industries: hospitality, tourism, banking, real estate, retail, direct sales, legal, manufacturing, and oil and gas. Consult Asia closely works with partners in their people development and business enhancement programs to achieve their business goals. And the Consult Asia Global team is just as world-class. Consultants and facilitators, coaches and mentors are industry experts from distinct backgrounds and cultures. Consult Asia delivers only high-quality training solutions and proactively pursues strategic alliances with global firms and consultants to stay ahead in the industry. Consult Asia Global, the world's preferred training group.
Hello, and looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. We are Consultasia Australia, Consultasia Global Australia. And tonight we've got a topic called Hats Off to Single Parents. And my name is Francis, and we've got our guests, Tinette, Alan, and Richard. And we've got Suhas as well as our main host. Care to unmute yourselves, guys?
Hi. Hi, Francis. Hi, Suhas.
Hello.
How are you guys
Hello,
doing?
everyone. All good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thank you.
It's lovely to have you guys here. It's a fantastic day.
Thank you.
First day of the week. Hope everyone is fresh, looking cool. So let's going on to the topic of solo parents. We have a lovely solo parent here as our guest. So we would start the discussion by asking what it is being like a solo parent and how challenging it is and how do they feel being a solo parent. So it would be great if Tinette, you would start by answering that. How do you feel about it?
How do I feel about being a solo parent?
Yes.
Well, I've been a solo parent for 16 years now, so I'm very, very used to it already, and I feel happy. I'm very happy with my life right now. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. How about you, Alan?
I don't think it's any harder than parenting with a partner, quite frankly. It's just you've got one less pair of hands, so you need to be more organized.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think it's even more, it's more of a daunting task because you need to be both mother and father of the child. So it's quite taxing, it's quite demanding, and it's really a tough job to do. So it's, for me, it's hats off to the single parents. What do you think about it, Francis?
Well, I was actually brought up by a single parent, so I know what it's like to be the child of a single parent. And from my point of view, I could see that it would have been easier, obviously, for my mom to have had a dad. My dad raised me. So the title of tonight's talk, "Hats Off to Single Parents," is exactly that, because I know it's not easy being a single parent. So yeah, so I'm really excited about what you guys have to say about it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
So just discussing with that, since we already mentioned that it's a tough task to be a single parent, let's ask our guest, like, what are the challenges do they face being a single parent? What about
Who,
you, Tina?
who would like to start? Am I gonna start? What are the
Yeah, yeah.
challenges? Well, I suppose, I guess I can only speak for myself. Okay. So what was most challenging was, of course, when I was previously married, and then all of a sudden you had to part ways. Is, it's the emotional roller coaster ride that I had to go through. After we have separated, and
Yeah,
because I had full custody of my child, then of course you have to worry about, number one, more than the financial, it's really more like the society, the relatives around you
true,
who are going to
true,
keep asking you
true,
what happened, and your
true,
friends, what
true.
happened, why didn't it work out? And that was really the worst memory, I suppose, is because I had to explain. I know that I didn't. Well, I knew that I didn't have to explain, but I
Yeah,
ended up explaining anyway, and
yeah,
it
yeah.
was a never-ending,
Yeah, you don't owe an
interrogation.
explanation to anyone, but that's the same
Mhm.
thing that you need to say again and again. And I think
Mhm.
that's the most taxing thing. What about you, Alan?
Oh, look, I've always viewed it. They've got a mum and a dad, and they're better off not being in an environment of conflict. Um, I don't think my kids are disadvantaged at all by virtue of that, because they're in a more pleasant environment. I think you appreciate your kids more when your mind's clear and you're not in conflict with your partner. And I've got to say, I think my relationship with my kids has got better
Oh,
since this
yeah,
has happened. It can be taxing at times, but I'd say definitely, probably I'm not as distracted by other things, and certainly have more quality time with them now.
sure, sure. And it must also be demanding on the terms of, because you also have your career, you also have your kids, so
Yes,
you need to make conscious and careful career choices.
you
So,
do it. It's funny though. You just you juggle and work it out. It's
yeah,
when I get
and I'm
people say,
sure it's
"How are you
easier
going to do
said than
that?"
done.
So you make it work because you have to.
True, true. And it also takes a toll on your finances since you're a solo
Absolutely.
parent.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think, Tina? It's easier said than done,
Mhm.
making a good career choice and on your finances.
Mhm. Well, I was a sales manager in a five-star hotel when I actually became a
Oh,
solo parent, and of course I was used to the employed life, being an
oh yeah,
employee, where you
yeah,
have your
yeah.
salary every 15 days, and all of a sudden this happened, and I couldn't function. I was emotionally not in a good
Yeah,
place, and so I had to
yeah.
speak with my boss, and I said I don't think I can stick around any longer in the hotel. And I left my job and I didn't know what to do, but that actually turned out to be there was a silver lining to it, because without that there would be no Consult Asia now. Because that was when I
True.
started, as a single parent. I said, okay, am I gonna look for another job, or am I gonna venture into a different path? So
True.
that's where
True.
I said, okay, I gotta do something where I can control my time, I control my income, how much I want to make, because,
True.
with the salary that I was making at that time, I don't think it would be enough to, even if it was good, compared, to other jobs. But I had, big dreams for my daughter at that time.
True,
So,
true. I can totally understand. It's really difficult because it's just
mhm,
single person, then you need to function like a one-man army. You need to
yeah.
take care of
Mhm,
your finances, of your kid, of the kid's education, kid expenses, your career choices, and you're the only one who runs it. So it's really difficult. And
mhm,
I think it makes you the best out of you on the better
mhm,
side. It makes the best out of you. So in my opinion, single parents are much more mature than the parents who are in like both mother and father. So for me, it's a really respectful thing. And moving with that discussion, well, let's ask Francis what's his opinion on that.
What about Richard?
Francis,
Richard might want to share his opinions on that one.
what do you think about our guest? I mean, what do you think about it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, when you're faced with a challenge, you either fight. It's either fight or flight, and when it's not just you that you're thinking of, you're thinking of your kids. So most of the time, yeah, people face that challenge, and yeah, adjust and do things that'll cope with that situation.
And in
So,
addition
yeah.
to that, actually, Francis and Suhas, there are different aspects that you could consider. Like physically, of course, it's more taxing because then you have to do everything by yourself. I mean, if you were going to work before and and let's say your spouse was cooking before, now you have to go to work and then cook at the same time and change the nappies, and then everything you have to juggle everything physically. Then you have the emotional, the emotional aspect where when the baby is crying all night, and before you used to have somebody who would help you, at least carry the baby. Now it's like the baby's crying and I was also crying, so we were both crying, right? So it was not easy. And then, of course, mentally, you're always thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? What challenges am I going to, go through tomorrow? So it's very difficult. And that's why
I can totally understand that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-awareness and strength, inner strength for you.
Well, one question that keeps coming in my mind is always to ask a solo parent, like, from where do you get your energy? Like, what is the source of your motivation of that? Because that's too much. So I would like to ask you, what's your motivation? You and Alan also.
My motivation is I know they're going to go to bed eventually, and it's my time again. So, roll on bedtime, and then that's the end of the day, and you start again. So, but you get tired with it sometimes because
I can
but you get tired anyway sometimes. But I've got a pretty structured regime. I think that's important for everyone. And you try and keep them that routine. It's my routine, so I have my routine. Once they've gone to bed, that's my time. So sometimes I can't wait to get them there.
One of the questions that we were meant to ask tonight, what about relationships other than family, your dating life or your romantic life, romantic relationships? How has this impacted, how has being a single parent impacted that?
Oh, is that a question for me?
Yeah.
Yes. Funnily enough, I'd say it hasn't.
Okay.
Like, you get to a certain age and the people that you're going to date are probably in a similar circumstance to yourself.
Yeah.
So you're both working around having kids and having to deal with them, and maybe share parenting, and if you're lucky, your weekends align. So I really haven't seen it put much of a crimp in that. Occasionally, but occasionally you have competing priorities, whether you've got kids by yourself or not. So I think for some people it can be hard, depending on what level of care or how often, what percentage you've got the kids. But I have mine pretty much half the time, and I don't see, or I haven't felt that that's put a crimp in that.
But actually, we don't know what the background is. Alan, how many kids have you got, and how old are they? 3.
I've got 11, 7, and 5.
Okay, yeah. I guess that question also applies to, depends on where you are in that stage as well. I mean, if you've got
absolutely
2 really young kids, that's a different story as having teenagers or grown-up kids. Yeah. Well, what about you, Tinette?
Well, mine is very different. Mine is definitely very difficult because, first of all, I have a daughter and she's 17. So of course she was only 1 year old when I became a solo parent, and I had to be very extra careful as to who I was going out with, because my daughter is watching every step I make, right? So I don't ever want to make the same mistake, if that makes sense. If I had to go out, it had to be really just with friends first and really getting to know people first. And if there are red flags, then no, so it's I call it highly vigilant, but I had to be, because again, it was very traumatic. I mean, of course, for a woman like myself and in an Asian country, in the Philippines, I mean, it's very difficult. Obviously, it's very different. We do not have much support for solo parents here, unlike I think in Australia, where you have government support and whatever. But here,
That's right. Yeah.
Nope. It's either you make it or you don't. So yeah, so I had to be very careful. It's affected my dating life, obviously, but not anymore. That I was talking about when she was very young, but now that she's 17, I mean, she's probably thinking, when are you gonna get married again, Mom? She's probably thinking that.
So on that note, I would like to ask Alan and Tilan both, like, what do you think about, again, being in a second relationship after this, a new one, or settling down, or like how easy or how difficult it is for you guys?
I'm very reticent.
We start with Alan. Yeah.
I think very reticent. My kids don't get to meet anyone, and haven't met anyone until I'm certain, because I don't want to mess them around. It's not good for them. So I keep my business to myself. They probably have an inkling of what I'm up to, but they're not fools, even though they're little. They don't ask Dad, and Dad doesn't tell them. And if at a certain point I do want to introduce them to someone, I will. But I certainly don't bring people into their lives.
What about you, Tinette?
Again, she's 17, so right now, for example, I make her part of. I'm very open to her, because no matter how hard you try to conceal everything, I mean, it's gonna be worse if she finds out from your friends or on social media. There's this guy always liking your posts. Who is that? So it's might as well just be open, and then make her part of the screening process, if that makes sense. So what do you think of so and so? What do you think of so and so? And aside from my daughter, of course, I have a whole team of friends, that, Suhas, right, who are there to help me assess. So so it's not something that I now will try to keep very private, because at the end of the day, I want to be open to my daughter.
That's very important, because she also needs to be aware of what's happening in your life, and maybe if you and the guy needs to settle down again, the kid also needs to be comfortable in some zone. So I think it's very important to be open as well.
Yes.
But like how do you how different do you look relationship from this point of view? Like you would like to take it one step at a time, you take a time, or you also look for a single parent as a potential next partner? Like what's your view on that?
Is this for Alan or for myself?
Tinette.
Oh, for me, okay. Well, I have my negotiables and non-negotiables, right? So the non-negotiables will definitely be.
That's a nice way to start. Yeah.
Yeah, the non-negotiables would basically be, number one would be the character, of course. I really don't care where he's from or what he is, what he looks like, if he's, what I really don't care about status, but the non-negotiable would be character. He has to have integrity. He has to have self-respect, because if he respects himself, then he can respect, and he obviously respects other people. So that's number one. Number two would be definitely confidence that he can actually carry a proper relationship. I've been through that road where a lot of sad men would come to your life and want to be saved, if you know what I mean. They come to you with sad stories, try to woo you with their, and try to make you feel powerful and valued. That's no longer applicable to me. I've been through that road several years back, but not anymore. I've learned my lesson, so no. So that's a non-negotiable for me. He has to be at least he has to be happy with his own life, and not desperately
Perfect,
seeking
perfect.
a partner. Because if he is desperate, then that puts me in a very bad position, that if I don't meet his expectations, then it's going to be another
True. And you
disastrous
need to be extra
relationship.
careful also at this moment, because this time you wouldn't like to go wrong, or I would put it like you would like to make it work this time more nicely, right?
Yes,
What
yes.
about you, Alan?
Look, I mirror a lot of what Tanette said. I've summed it up for myself in terms of I've said I've been down the path where I've been needed by people, and I said I don't want to be needed ever again, but I need to be wanted. So whoever that person is, they've just got to want me. They've got to want nothing from me or need anything from me. So they don't need to be saved. They don't need me to be their rock. They don't need to look after them financially. They just want to be with me. So as soon as I see any of those red flags in terms of need, I'm out of there. That's my non-negotiable completely.
Yeah.
True. I think, in my opinion, single parents can be the best relationship coaches ever. What do you think about it? Because since they have so much of experience in their life, they must have been with people right and wrong, and they always are surrounded by all the responsibilities of the kids of their own. I think they can become the best relationship coach ever. What do you think about it? This might be wrong, but in my view, that's the way it is. So what do you think about it, Tina?
I guess I would say that solo parents would be very, very good in terms of empathizing with people who are going through tough, relationships. I'm not really sure whether they're going to be the best coaches, because it depends really on how they have managed their own issues in life. Because if they got stuck in their own issues and they've become man haters, or they've become very negative about life, then they might not be the best coaches. But at least if let's say, for example, with myself, when somebody comes to me with a relationship problem, whether she's married, whether she's single, or with just in a relationship, it's almost automatic and so easy for me to empathize and just be there and understand what he or she is going through. So yeah, I mean, it teaches you a lot of lessons. So I think Suhas froze, Francis.
That means I'm gonna have to take over, isn't it? All right. What's your advice to people who are in the same situation as you guys are, or are about to enter that situation? What advice would you give? Would you is salvaging you and your partner's relationship the priority, or would it be the kids mainly? Alan, maybe
I'll take this one because this one's rather fresh to me.
Yeah.
You've got to be happy to yourself to be good for anyone else. So if you're not happy, kids are important, absolutely. But if your relationship's not working, they're in a bad environment. I grew up in a very bad environment, so I've got a very clear perspective on that. And they don't want to be there. You're not happy. They're not happy, and not all relationships are salvageable as much as you try.
True.
So sometimes there's too much damage done and it doesn't survive. And at that point in time, you go through remorse and you go through mourning. But when you come out the other side, you realise the best thing was to end it for everyone, you, the kids, your partner, and you can build something different. That's just everyone can be happier as a result of that. So I'm not saying it's the ideal, but if you're in that situation, you need to look at the interests of everyone, not just the kids, not just yourself. It's about the happiness of everyone in the family.
Yes, that's right. That's a good one. Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta think for number one first. All right. What about Tinette? What's your take on that one?
What advice can I give? Wow,
What
that's
advice
actually
could you
big.
give to somebody who is about to or is in that situation where the relationship may be on the rocks, and they've got kids? And would you say save the relationship first? Yeah. What's your take on it?
I
I do
guess.
like Alan's take on it. That is
Okay.
definitely a good way
Well,
to look at it. But
yeah, I
what about
guess
you?
each person is different. I mean, it's very difficult to give an advice. My first probably my initial advice would be seek professional, advice, because I'm not the pro. I'm not the pro. I'm not a professional counselor, but if it's a friend, let's say a good friend of mine, just seeking my own personal opinion, what I would say is, of course, think about it first. I mean, don't make an emotional decision for a lifetime choice, for a life
Yeah.
choice. You
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have
Right.
to be emotional. You have to really look at it from the right perspective. So that would be my initial advice as to what to do or what not to do. It's really going to depend on the circumstances of the couple. So yeah, because like for me, for
Jeanette,
instance, I've had so many pieces of advice that I've gathered from friends, from family, and I understand that they're coming from the position of love and concern, but I still listen to my own my own voice. I didn't listen to everybody because everybody was saying save it, save it, save it. But if I had saved it, I mean, they really didn't know 101% what I was going through. So it was still I who made that decision. So I guess
Yes.
my only advice would be to that person is that you have the power to make a decision. All
Yeah.
you can do is to listen, so that maybe you can see other people's perspectives, but you have the power. You do not have to please anybody,
Yeah.
to make a decision. Yeah.
well,
Can I say too?
for just for our viewers, we discussed about self-care a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and since we are discussing about being a solo parent, I would like to ask Alan and Tinette, like, how's it like? How do you practice self-care being a single parent? Because obviously you don't have much time. Your job is taxing. You have requirements. You have to do your things. So how important and how difficult it is for you to do a self-care? What do you think about it, Alan?
You have to. Everyone has to do that. So you just have to make time out from your kids. And if that means
Yeah.
getting someone to babysit them so you go out with your friends, you need to do that. They shouldn't be they're the center of your existence, but they shouldn't be the whole of your existence, because you're a pretty boring person and you're not very exciting to them then. So you just got to do it. Look after your health, look after your fitness, look after your diet, look after your mental well-being, be with your friends, and make that time. You know what? They're not made out of glass. You can leave them for the night and go out and enjoy yourself. And you're a better person when you're around them. Not everyone's like that. A lot of people, helicopter parents, are always hovering over their children. I've got a different view. It's like, I don't let my kids go out and play in the traffic by any means, but they're little people and they need their outlets, and you need your outlets as well. So you've got to look after yourself, or you're not going to be as good a person for them.
And just for viewers again, since I think we need to introduce our guest, I think we got late in doing that. Okay, so just for our viewers, Tinette, she's an international speaker. She's a personal development mentor and training consultant.
Oh, we lost Suhas.
We
Looks like it.
we lost Suhas
So
again.
yeah, Suhas was just doing a backgrounder on our
Something
guests, which is
that
you,
will
Tinette and Alan.
press is what it is.
Okay, we
Suhas,
lost him. Yeah. So as Suhas was saying, Tinette is an international trainer, and she is the CEO and president of Consultasia. And what about you, Alan? Can you give us sorry, it's a bit late in the talk, but what is your background?
My
what
background, for a number of years, I worked in various aspects of finance. A company director, done some entrepreneurial things. Earlier career was in the military.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was a military officer for a number of years, so I'm pretty organised with my kids. I keep them in line.
Right.
But it really helps having that sort of ability to marshal them and get them out the door, get them in the car, get them dressed on time. I find that helps a lot.
Yeah. Very Von Trapp like.
Maybe not so much, but well, with three, if you have to deal with them all individually, it takes a lot of time. You've got to put them on autopilot so they know what they need to achieve. If that's brushing their teeth, putting their washing in the laundry, just getting dressed, the fact that you can rely on them to do it without having to hover over them makes life a lot easier.
Yeah. I guess another question is, what do you think life would have been like if you did have a partner to raise the kids with you? How different would the situation would be?
Been there, done that, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. So hence I don't have a partner now for that reason. And it was the right decision. Right decision for the kids, absolutely. I honestly don't think it was any more difficult, because when you take the conflict away, you are less, I don't know, congested with bad ideas and conflicting emotions, and I'm actually in a much better place myself, and a much better place for them to be there for them. I'm a better person around them, without doubt. Not the ideal. I'd rather do it the other way, but it wasn't working. So
Okay. In that case, what would have been the ideal then?
I think the ideal is that you have a partner, you have a strong relationship, and you parent the kids together. There was never any real conflicts about the parenting. A relationship just didn't work. So
Right.
then the environment deteriorates for everyone. The kids are aware of what's going on. They're aware of the vibe in the household, and I don't think that's good. That's the environment I grew up in, and I hated it.
On this note,
And you, Tinette?
Well, okay. Well, I guess before I answer your question, Francis, I have a lot of friends who are married, who are together with their partners and spouses at home, but they feel like they're solo parents. So I guess if your question is, what would life be like if I had a partner? Again, just like what Alan said, if it's the right person, then of course, happy plus happy equals happier, right? But for now, as it is, we are 100%. I feel like we are a complete family, myself and Sophia. I mean, she does a lot of things that inspires people. She inspires a lot of other kids, and with the work that I do, I also have a family. I have you guys, so it's not like just one partner and your life revolves around that one partner. So I don't feel any void in my life at the moment. I used to have that when I just got out of the marriage. Of course, that's normal, but somehow you have to find your way through, to be back to being whole again. And it's even more amazing because nobody's negative and trying to control you, if you know what I mean. But if it's a great partner, then why not, right? So
I suppose here in Australia, it's not as big an issue because, the government, I guess, recognizes all families, no matter what size or, shape or the configuration. You could be a single parent and a child, or, a full family, or your traditional family. But in the Philippines, that's not necessarily the case. Could you tell us about, the difficulties you go through? As a single parent?
Well, thankfully I didn't have to go through that, because as I said, after I left the hotel, I got into my own business. But a lot of single parents, especially single mothers who try to get into jobs, they sometimes get the least priority because the employers feel that they will always be absent anyway, because they have to look after the kids. When the kids are sick, then they'll be absent. So I hear stories like that they do not get priority when it comes to getting employed. So that's definitely one of the challenges that single moms go through here in the Philippines. Plus, of course, with the lack of government support, it's really tough. And so what happens is the single mom goes back to her parents or original family, and now the parents have to look after the kids. So it's an extended family. So it just gets very, very difficult for everybody. So
sure. How's the equation with your other partner, if he's still there around? How the equation with him changes? How does your kid react to that?
I'm sorry,
And this
Suhas.
is for, okay, since we're talking about solo parents, my question would be like, how does the equation with the partner changes since you guys have separated, the partner, the other person is still there. So how do you react? How does the equation happens with the other person, and how does the kids react with that? This is for Alan.
I really haven't had that issue. My background is my first child was I wasn't with his mother, so he only has ever known us being separate. And my later kids, who I had with my second wife, haven't been introduced to anyone. So I don't know. I can't answer that question because it hasn't happened yet. They haven't been confronted with it.
Oh, okay. How about you, Tinet?
So your question is, you're talking about, say, the father of my daughter.
Yes.
How's the relationship? How does he fit into the equation?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I did not take him out of the equation because my issues with him were my issues with him. I didn't have to take Sophia into the picture and control her or manipulate her mind. I did not want her to grow up with a distorted image of her father. I wanted her to see that for herself. Of course, I did not want to, inject as what most of my friends
That's
do.
very nice approach, yeah.
Most of my friends would try to badmouth their exes and stuff like that, and just for the sake of a revenge, some sort of a revenge for their, towards the ex. But what happens is the kids grow up and they realize that is not that bad, and then now the mom looks bad to the kids because all her life she was trying to manipulate their thinking. So my take on that is, that's the reason why you separate. Just move on, let go and move on. And then I still keep him at a very cordial distance. Whenever he has to see my daughter, sure, why not? But of course there are certain limits. I don't allow him to come up to my apartment. He can meet my daughter at the lobby of the condo, or they can go out to the mall, no problem. When he calls me, I'm very respectful. I mean, it's, we've moved on, in our lives, and there's no, if you try to be negative about it, then you're just carrying poison in your system. So no, just be cool about it. Yeah.
Well, the day will come where your kids. I'm sorry.
Kids?
Sorry.
Would you guys like to have more kids, Alan and Tinet?
No.
If I was much younger, why not? But I don't think I can ever have more kids. No, I'm too old for that. Yeah.
So you want to have, but you can't. You're saying that, right?
Well, it would be nice. I mean, I only have one. I mean, it would be nice to have like 3. You know what I mean? But hey,
true.
No worries.
3's nice, but 3's enough.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wait for my grandkids. So, did we just lose Suhas again, Francis?
Oh, possibly, yeah. I don't see him on
Okay.
screen.
Yeah.
That's what being a co-host is all about. Okay, I was about to ask anyways. Well, the time will come when the kids grow up and move out.
Mm-hmm.
So how will life be different then? Are you looking forward to that happening? Tinet?
Oh, is that for me? Sorry. Yeah, that's a very good question. I always have that conversation with Sophia, and I ask her, I said, what's going to happen? So when you get married, where are you going to settle down? And she says, Mama, no matter what happens, we're going to be together. I said, yeah, how's that going to happen? And she was making a joke. I'm going to have a room for you in our house. I said, I don't think your husband will like that. So yeah, well, I haven't really thought about that really, to be honest. But again, if she moves out, I'd just be sticking around, I'll be there. I mean, whichever part of the world she'll be in, I'll be there, visiting her and my grandkids and her husband.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely be probably, I don't know, I'll just be like this. I'll still be having Facebook Live sessions with you guys probably every Monday. So yeah.
What about you, Alan? What's your situation at the moment? Are you you have the kids half of the time? Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So I live by myself and I have them half the time. When they're not there, sometimes you get a bit lonely for them. But what I will say is what I said earlier, the kids can be the centre of your existence, but they shouldn't be your whole existence. So if you don't have a life outside the kids, when they go, you don't have a life.
That's right.
So I think it's really important that you've got to be an individual still. You've still got to have your
Yep.
pursuits and interests. And so when they're not there, you have things to do. I do see a lot of people, whether they be single parents or couples, where the kids leave and they don't have anything to entertain them anymore. They become pretty one-dimensional people.
Right. Yeah. Right. And are you looking forward to that day when your 3-year-old, right?
No, I've got a 5-year-old. Yeah.
5-year-old grows up and moves out? Are you?
I don't think they move
Looking
out
forward
until
to
they're about 35 now anyway, so it's a long way off. So I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it, but it's going to come for all of them.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
And you need to have your life outside them for those reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So Haas, you might have more questions. So Haas,
I think it's frozen again.
He's
is he
frozen.
frozen?
I think we should ask them, like, what is the support system, like, who you often fall back other than family for if you are in some tough situation, and who do you often call? Like, family, friends is one thing, like, but do you like, how do you heal yourself? Do you meditate? Do you go to church? Or like, what do you do when you are in such tough situations? In that?
Oh, for me, yes, I do meditate. I do meditate every day. I practice yoga. I used to swim a lot, but now with the COVID-19, the pools are closed. The pool in our building is closed, so I can't swim. I can't swim. I do play musical instruments. So as you can see, I have a little studio here at home. I do play the guitar, and my daughter sings with me. So this is much of a stress reliever for me. So yeah, so I guess you just really have to learn how to discover that inner strength, in you, because sometimes people just get tired if you keep, complaining to them all the time with the same issue over and over.
It becomes mundane.
Yeah, and plus, especially if you change partners, let's say, I'm not saying I change partners, but if you, let's say you have a new partner and then you're gonna have another problem, and then you tell your friends and they're gonna be like, oh my God, it's the same problem, So I guess we just really need to, again, I guess one thing that I just wanted to share with you, Suhas and Francis, is that if there's one relationship that you really need to rekindle, it's your relationship with yourself as a solo parent. Because at the end of the day, you only have yourself, really. I mean, your kids are there now, but as our hosts tonight said, they're gonna move out soon. I mean, someday, not soon, but someday. Yeah. So it's really important for us to love ourselves, not selfish love, but just love ourselves and find a deeper purpose, in life, so that you're not just stuck in, looking for somebody to fill that void. So
Perfect. And Alan, what about you? Where is your support system? How do you channelize that?
In terms of support, it's like it's friends and friends and family. But I think what Tanette alluded to, very wary of telling them the same story over and over, of complaining about things. So you need to change your reality. If you're complaining about the same thing repeatedly, you need to change that reality. And when I get fed up, exercise has always been my release. So I find that puts me on a different footing. I exercise, it's my opium. It puts me in a good place. And I know that when I'm not doing it, I can feel that I'm not in as good a place. So that's my fallback.
Alan, you're in Melbourne, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in lockdown again.
Lockdown. Yeah.
COVID has reared its ugly head the second time here, and we're on the second wave, and the kids are at home all the time. How are you coping with that? Has it?
I've really sympathised with them with the weather. What I do try and do is just give them exercise every day, even if it's just to take them for a walk if they can't go to the
Right.
park. But I've invented scooter races in the car park. So I live in an apartment. I've got a big car park downstairs, so I take the kids down and we have scooter
Yeah.
races in the car park or the park, just something to tire them out. And we have movie night at night. They play Xbox, they play on their iPads. I try and limit that, and so they get told it's non-electronic time. They have to go and do something that's non-electronic. But they've coped pretty well. You know, there's days when you can see they're pent up with energy, and you do get frustrated when they're like that. But I think they've coped well, and there's no use complaining about it. We just have to do it.
Yeah.
Do what you've got to do.
So
And,
after this conversation, like, what is the one most important advice that you guys would like to give your kids? Because since they have seen so much of this in their early lives, I'm sure they must have thought an opinion about it. So what is the one important advice that you would like to give your kids? What about you, Tina?
What important advice in terms of what?
Relationship advice, or because you also want your kid to be very happy once she's settled in life. So what is the one most important advice you would like to give her in the terms of relationships?
So, well, the way I deal with Sophia is I give her advice. Well, first of all, the best advice is exactly what you show them instead of what you tell them. Even if you tell them to do this or do that, but they see you doing the exact opposite, then definitely it will not stick in their heads. So that's one way to really, become, I think, connected with your kids. Number two is, I would say that I focus more on the values, like values, again, as I said, of integrity, of respect, of trust, because then that will apply to all aspects of the child's life, whether it be relationships, whether it be career. So then I don't have to keep giving a lot of advice, but it's just really the big solid advice, the fundamentals or the foundational principles of good living.
So for you, it's more of showing them what it is rather than telling them what it is.
Yes, exactly. Like, for example, let's say, for example, Sophia, about relationships, for example, now she's 17, she has a lot of admirers already, teenage boys, contacting her. And, so now when somebody's also trying to contact me, I watch what I say on the phone, because she's also watching me. I'm not rude. I am not hysterical on the phone. I'm very respectful. So when I observe her, the way she answers phone calls from boys, I'm like, wow, she's doing exactly what I'm doing. So it's very important to show our kids what to do and not so much tell them what to do, because then we'll appear to be very nagging. So yeah, that would be my practical advice.
And what about you,
Let's call it learning
Alan?
for the kids.
Look, I'd mirror pretty much what Tanette had to say, but I think for the kids, just say, you're okay. You're okay. See, so many of them, they're bent about something, about being bullied or not being popular or the way they look or whatever. Just, you're okay. You're great. And your behaviours are what they'll mirror. So I know with mine, I'm a stickler on their manners. Please, thank you. Not eating before everyone's at the table. I think if you teach them now, they know them later on. But I think they're nice things to teach the kids, because they'll be better grown-ups as a result of it. But they learn them now. They learn them easy now. They don't have to learn them later on. But they're just okay. They're great kids. And that they can come to you and talk to you at any time about anything. They don't have to hold anything inside. And you're their parent, but you're their friend too, and you're concerned about them. So they feel that they've got someone that's got their back all the time.
Oh, well, thank you for that. We're about to wrap up tonight. We'd like to thank everybody who's stuck around and watched our little webcast. And please visit our website, consultasia.com. www.soloparents.com. And also visit our YouTube and our Facebook pages. Subscribe, like, and follow. Yeah. So, any last words, guys, to anybody who may be listening? Yeah, on the joys or the challenges of being a single parent. What have you got to say? I guess to somebody who might be in the same situation.
Just roll with the punches. It's not the same for everyone.
Yeah.
You just have to deal with it as it comes up.
Yeah. Tinette?
Yeah. Well, just see your kids as the blessings. You know, they're blessings, they're not burdens. And that you are not a victim, but you're a victor. So this is what I can always say to solo parents, that you are not in a bad place. You are actually in a place to prove to yourself that you can actually be better than where you were before. So yeah.
Great.
Did Suhas freeze again?
No, I'm there. Can you
Okay.
guys hear me? So I think it's the time to wrap up now. It was wonderful having you guests here, Tinette and Alan. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on being a single parent. We discussed quite a few things, which is very important for the viewers and the other single parents who are watching this to understand and see how difficult it is, what are the challenges, how do you motivate yourself, and what is the life going ahead. So thank you for sharing all these views. I thank all the viewers and I thank my co-host Francis for all this. Okay, thank you very much, and we look forward to see you soon again. And have a great day ahead.
Thank you
You
so
too.
Thanks,
much,
Alan, and thanks, Tinette.
Suhas and Francis. Thank you also, Alan.
A pleasure.
Right.
We'll see you around. Stay safe.
Hi guys, are we still live?
Yes.
Suhas?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Everybody's just unmuting and getting their videos on. All right.
Oh, excuse me.
Whereabouts are you located, Alan?
Melbourne.
Yeah, whereabouts in Melbourne?
West Melbourne.
Oh, West Melbourne. Oh, where you got locked down. You're among the first ones to lock down.